Hello, pre-calc. Here's problem number 24 from your 2.1 homework. Competition was held at the Marlins Baseball Stadium in Miami, Florida, to see who can throw a baseball the highest from the front row of the upper deck of seats 65 feet above field level. The winner threw the ball with an initial vertical velocity of 84 feet per second. So I'm going to say that my V sub 0 is 84. And it lands on the infield grass. What is the maximum height of the baseball? How much time is the ball in the air? And what is the vertical velocity of the ball at impact? Okay, so we are going to start by writing our formula. S of t equals negative 1/2 times, since it's in feet, this is going to be 32 for gravity, times t squared, plus 84 times t, that's our v sub 0, plus, and it said that our s sub 0 was 65 feet, because it was 65 feet above the field level, and the ball landed at field level. So our main equation, our position equation, will be negative 16 t squared plus 84t plus 65. And the first question was, what is the maximum height of the baseball? So we know that this is a downward facing parabola. At 0, it was at 65. So it goes like this. And our vertex, which is x equals negative b over 2a, and the y value of the vertex would be f of that function, or s of that function. So that would be, the y value is s of negative b over 2a. And so we know that our a is negative 16, our b is 84, and our c is 65. So x equals negative 84 over 2 times negative 16, negative 84 over negative 32, and that's going to be a positive sorry, I didn't have my calculator. 2.625. And I say x, but it's actually t, right? This is t. So this is seconds. So it takes 2.625 seconds for it to reach its maximum height. And so we want to know what s of 2.625 is. So negative 16 times 2.625 squared plus 84 times 2.625 plus 65. And I got 175.25, that would be feet. So this is going to be the maximum height of the ball. I'm just going to put max height. The second question was, how much time is the ball in the air? So we would like to know when it hits the ground, which is right here for this t value, we would like to know what that is. That's when s of t is 0, right? for whatever that t value is, that point right there is the point, t comma 0. So that's when your s of t is 0. So for that question, we're going to set our s of t equal to 0. And we're going to look for our zeros here. Now, you could either put this in your calculator in your y equals and find the 0, or I think this is actually factorable. I'm going to pull my notes out because I feel like I factored it, but I could be wrong. This gives you guys time to put it in your calculator, calculate the 0, do that while I'm messing around finding my work. Hopefully you remember how to do all that. If not, you're going to have to tell me to show you again, but you should remember how to do all that. Okay. Well, I don't know where I've got my page 1 and 2, but I can't find my page 3. So it looks like we're just going to have to do it on our own. Oh no, here it is. I did it in my calculator, okay? So I am looking back. And so let's just put that function in our calculator, negative 16x squared plus 84x. And you might have already done this while you were waiting for me. And you're going to hit graph. And you want to find that 0 that is, there's going to be another 0 over here somewhere. We don't want that one. We only want this one. So second trace, calculate the 0, number 2, and then position your cursor so that you are looking at your left-hand side of that 0, which would be above it. And my calculator is having a hard time finding it. I'm going to hit zoom 6 because I was in a weird mode. I'm still kind of in a weird mode because I know that vertex goes to 175. So I went ahead and hit zoom fit after I hit zoom 0. Now I've got an OK graph, second trace, number 2 the 0. Now I can see my cursor, and I'm putting it to the left of my 0 and hitting enter, and then putting it to the right of my 0 and hitting enter, and then I'm just hitting enter again for the guess. And that gives me t equals 5.935 if I rounded the 5 after the 4. It was 4.5. This 5 tells me to round that one up to 5. So this is 5.935 seconds is the amount of time that it is in the air. The ball is in the air for this number of seconds. Okay. And what is the vertical velocity of the ball at impact? So what we'd have to do is we would have to find the velocity. And our velocity function, if you remember from the notes, v of t equals, this is going to be negative 32 times t plus 84. So negative 32, we want to find the velocity at 5.935. So negative 32 times 5.935 plus 84. Negative 105.92. Now, I will tell you that on the AP exam, they would not want you to write it like this. They would have wanted you to put this value, whatever this was, which maybe it did end up giving us, no, it gave us a really long number, because remember it was on the graph. They would want you to store that in like A or something, and then use in your calculator negative 32 times A plus 84, so that you could get a more accurate answer. More accurate answer if you do that. And so if I would have had my graph back up, and I'm going to have to calculate that again. Oh, nope, there it is. No, that's not it. Okay, yep, I have to calculate it again. So I got a left bound, I got a right bound, but my cursor is closer. And there's my 0. And if I go out right now and I say x equals, it's going to be that 0. It stores your x, which is alpha store. That x is in x. So I just calculated the 0 by using second trace, which gave me calculate, and then I hit number 2 for 0, and then I did, you know, my left bound was, you know, I put my cursor maybe right there, so that would have been my left bound. I positioned my cursor about right there, and then I moved it, and then I hit enter, left bound, and then enter, and then it says right bound, and I positioned my cursor down here. That was my right bound. So I positioned my cursor for my right bound and hit enter. And then it said guess, and I just hit enter again. And once it gave me that, I went out, I said second quit, or second mode for quit. Oops, sorry. Second mode, and that was for quit. And I said alpha, the STO key, and that was for X. And when I did that, it gave me that 5.934550574. So I know that that is what is in X. So now, if I wanted to find a more accurate velocity at that X value, I can now do negative 32 times X, and I find X by saying alpha store, right? That's the X, and then plus 84. So let's see how much more accurate that will be. Negative 32, and then I'm going to do alpha store for X, and then plus 84. And that gives me a negative 105.9. Not much difference, but 906, let's say. it gave us 0.90568184. So if I rounded it to 3 decimal places, like the AP exam wants, you know, you're using, this is the one you're either going to keep or change. So the 6 tells me to increase 5 by 1. So that's why I put negative 105.906. That is feet per second. That is the vertical velocity of the baseball when it hits the ground. Okay? So that is more accurate. That's the more accurate one than the negative 105.92 that we found. All right, that was number